I am live. I'm sorry, I had the mic off. Um, anyway, uh, the news around these Republican states is really disconcerting. Um, I want to read something to you here. Let's see. This was from NBC News. Uh, it says efforts to restrict transgender health care endure into 2024 with more adults targeted. It says at least 22 states have already enacted bans on gender affirming care for children, with most of them approved in the past year. Um, so, all these Republican state legislatures are considering a new round of bills restricting medical care for transgender use and, in some cases, adults. Returning to the issue the year after a wave of high profile bills became law and spanked lawsuits or sparked lawsuits. Okay, so uh, lawsuits is one thing. Getting out there and protesting, that's another way to do this. Let me turn on my comments here so I can see.
May I trouble you for one more cup of tea before you go to bed? Thank you.
And the person I take care of wants some more tea. And of course, I go live and they ask me for this. And it's what, almost 1 o'clock in the morning. It's 24-hour round the clock care. Okay. So, I'm going to share a comment that came up on a live stream I did a while back. And this is from Elijah Marie. And Elijah Marie had said that the Bible says God prefers same sex marriage, and all the fake ministers know it. Well, I don't know if he prefers same sex marriage, but there is no condemnation of same sex marriage. There is a place in the Bible where there is a same sex marriage that takes place. And most people just they gloss it over and they say, "Oh, that's not about that." Okay, it was the marriage between Jonathan and David. Um, Now I know all the right wing conservatives are going to be, "Oh, it's not about that." Look, Jonathan got naked in front of David. Okay, they had consummated their love and their relationship then. Okay. Um, if you read the passage with an open mind and uh, keep your mouth out of it, you would know this. Um, and it is just, it's mind boggling that all these people that pretend to be Christian are, in fact, not. Okay. They are so far away from the words of Christ. It's not funny. It's not funny. Um, I really wish I could point out to them how awful they are. You know, their God is not Christ. It's not the Heavenly Father, as they say. Um, they worship Trump. Uh, they worship all the Republicans because the Republicans will kowtow to them and bow down and say, "Oh yes, you know, you gave me $30,000. Yeah, we're going to take here take care of that for you." Okay, we get rid of Roe v. Wade. We're going to attack the transgenders. Look, in 1943 Germany, it was the LGBTQ people that were attacked first. It wasn't the Jews. It was the LGBTQ community. Those book burnings that you've seen in the press, most of those were medical literature showing that it was okay to be lesbian. It was okay to be gay. It was okay to be queer. It was okay to be transgender. You know, they were saying that it was natural. Okay. And then you get these I don't even want to call them Christians. These conservative fakes, okay, the wannabes, they want to use in name only, okay, because they'll say like, "Oh, you're a rhino in name only." Well, okay, we're going to use it against them again. How about you're our Christian in name only? Okay, you go to church 1 hour a week, maybe two, and you think that gets you in the good graces of your God? I'm sorry to tell you, it doesn't. You want this to be a Christian nation. You say it's a Christian nation. It was never a Christian nation. Never. Okay. From the founding of this country, it was not a Christian nation. They founded it on mostly on religious freedom. Religious freedom. Okay. You know, um, it, 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 it's mind boggling because you had the Puritans, you had the Quakers, um, you had the Anabaptist. Um, the Anabaptists are mostly known as the what is the name? The Amish and the what is the name of the other group? Um, anyway, they came from the Anabaptist. Then you have the Catholics. Okay. Um, the Baptist started here. Calvinism started in England. Um, let's see, what else? There was a lot of different groups that came over from England, Germany, um, the Netherlands. Um, And they weren't the only groups. Okay, um, the Celts came over from Ireland, Scotland, um, and most of those were very ostracized. And today they are still pretty much ostracized. Um, because you have your your Irish Catholics and your Irish Protestants, and they don't get along with each other. And both groups hate um, the group of the Irish that don't claim any of Christianity. Uh, they cling to their Celtic roots, uh, where Earth is God. Um, and to me, that is probably the closest thing to the truth. Excuse me. Um, we are born of the earth, we'll die into the earth, you know. So, you know, and even Christians will still say, Mother Nature and stuff like that. Well, you're talking about a Celtic or Gaelic um, uh, and other uh, northern religion, um, you know, the Odinites and those that follow Odin and Thor and Loki. Um, uh, and the thing is, what I don't get is there's about 5,000 religions around the world. 5,000. And so, and within Christianity, then you have to break it apart into all these different factions. So Christianity, each sect of Christianity says that their God is number one, and there is no other God. Well, if there's 5,000 religions around the world, and each one uh, has a different deity or deities, how can you be sure that yours is right? Please tell me. How can you be sure that yours is the right one? Okay. You can't. There is no possible way you can tell me that yours is the only one and your religion is correct. Number one, Christianity isn't that old. Okay. It's what, a little over 1,700 years old. Um, and that Bible you read and you thump and all that, that's been altered over 30,000 times since it's been put together. Um, you're still following the Catholic Church. Believe it or not, the Catholic Church wrote the New Testament. Every last single bit of it was written by the Catholic Church. Every bit of it. Okay. There was not one part that wasn't written by them. Not one. You can't trust anything in the Bible. Okay. And as far as the Old Testament, okay, the Old Testament didn't even become canon by the Jews until the 10th century AD, or Common Era. Okay. The 10th century, right? That's the 1100s. Okay. So who's to say that, um, you know, any religion is correct? Okay. The Muslims have the Quran. Okay. They say it's the most accurate, um, and has not been altered. Um, but there is, different interpretations depending on whether you're Sunni or Shiite, or uh, I think there's only like five different groups, five, six different groups of Muslim. Um, but the Christians, the so-called Christians, Christians in name only, um, let's put that. Oh, little clock going in the background there. Um, name only. Let's put that up on the screen. Let's see. Christians in name only. See no. Or if you want, you can put the H in there too. Chino. um, I've addressed this so many times before, and it bears repeating over and over and over and over again. Um, what's supposed to be Christianity wouldn't even doesn't even look like doesn't even look at like the words that are supposed to be Christ. Not one bit of it. Um, in your altered Bible, it says to love your neighbor as yourself. It also tells you to love your enemy. Okay. Well, if your enemy is the one who's gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender, you're supposed to love them. It does not say to make all these laws uh, to get rid of them, to put them back in the closet. Do you know how many times we've gone into the closet over the years? It's lots. It's plenty. And then when we come out, there's usually a revolution. Okay. And I'm not talking about a revolution where we take up arms or anything. I'm talking about a revolution of people standing up for themselves. Okay. And the whole I'm calling for all the LGBTQ plus community to come together with one voice and say, enough is enough. We're going to challenge you. Okay. So here in America, and I know some of the people around there's people around the world that listen to this podcast or watch the podcast. Because I get people from the UK and Ireland, and I get people from Africa and stuff. Um, excuse me, got a residual cold here. Um, if all of us stood up, okay, and you can look this up. I don't know if I'm right, but I do believe if you count all the LGBTQIA plus community around the world, we outnumber the conservatives. We outnumber the Christians. We outnumber a lot of these groups that want to get rid of us. And maybe that's why they're so afraid of us. That's us out of existence because we do outnumber them. And if we're in the majority, okay, then why are we letting a minority dictate what our lives are supposed to be? You know, we um we got to stand up. We got to stop the bullying. We got to stop the hate. Um, we got to push our agendas and make sure that we're heard from the school boards all the way up to Congress and the Supreme Court. We need to be heard. Okay. And when we start making noise, when we start challenging the so called status quo, don't rock the boat type people, that's that's when you know we're doing something right. Because and you know we're doing something right when all these Republican led states are trying to enact more and more and more laws against us because they know they're losing. They know we're going to win. Um, we have probably some of the best lawyers in the world, some of the best advocates and activists. Okay. And we have myself like a Gen X. Um, I totally agree that we need to get rid of um, the baby boomers and stuff out of Congress. We got to get them out of the presidency. We got to get them out of state legislatures. We got to get them out of the governorships. We have to get them out of city councils because as long as these, I'm going to call it like it is, old geezers um, are running things, things can't change for the youth. In fact, they're trying to make laws against the youth. Why? Because they're afraid of them. Straight up, they're afraid of them. Um, if everyone who is about to turn 18 or is already 18 were to turn out and vote this coming November, not only would they see a blue wave, they would see a tsunami that will wrap around the world. But um, um, so that's um, what we need. We need to vote blue, get the Republicans out of office. And give me a second here. Somebody trying to get my attention. Unbelievable. Here it is after 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm still getting bugged. And I'm supposed to be up at 9. I won't get to bed until like 3, maybe 4. And so that leaves me about 4 hours sleep. Anyway, um, let's see, what else did I want to put up here? Oh, like I said, we have to vote blue. We have to get rid of the Republicans. Okay. They want to turn this into a Christian, so called Christian fascist nation. Uh, they don't want religious freedom. In fact, they don't want any freedom at all. Um, and if these heteronormative people would just wake up, okay, wake up and look to see what's going on right in front of them. Because, like 1943, Germany, they started with us and then they moved to the next group and the next group and the next group. Heteronormative uh, people, you're not safe. You're not safe. Even if you're a Republican, you're not safe. They're coming after you too. They'll get rid of us. If they get rid of us, you're next. What part of that do you not understand? You're next. Women will be relegated to slavery. You'd have to stay home, take care of the kids, take care of the house, and pop out the babies. Plain and simple. Okay. Do you know during the 1600s in this country, if a woman was barren, meaning she couldn't give birth, okay, she was believed to be a witch and she would be burned or hanged or drowned. Yeah. Christians, the so called Christians, okay, they think they are everything, that they're untouchable. Sorry to say, but you're not. Because I don't know if anybody really knows know the history of Germany during World War II. Do you really? They came after the LGBTQ community first, mostly trans and queer, gender non-conforming. That was first. Then it was the gays and the lesbians. Then it was people of color. Then it was the Jews. And then it was the Christians that were not Lutheran that were next. That's right. So if you were Catholic, you were thrown in a slave camp. If you thought you were Baptist or something like that, you were thrown in a slave camp. You were tortured. And if you were lucky, you died. So if you're watching the show and you would like to be a guest on the show, follow that link right there, and you can be a guest on the show. Um, and I'm going to take a real quick break, and I'll be right back. Um, so if y'all want to be in on this, uh, just follow that link and see about getting you up here. Um, to either agree or disagree or whatever. Okay. So um, I'll see you shortly. Okay, I'm back. So I don't see anybody in the comment section, and I don't see any requests to come on. So I'm gonna pretty much try to wrap this up. Um, this is getting late, and I need to get some sleep. So if you'd like to support this podcast, the link is right here, scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Um, and as you see, it's Kofi.com, and the name of the podcast. Um, Kofi, coffee, Kofi, coffee. Do you get it? Okay. Anyway, please support the podcast. Every little bit helps, and it will go a long way to getting um, better equipment. Um, I'm using a cheap microphone, um, so you know, could be better, could be worse too. Anyway, I love you all, and until next time, keep fighting, fight hard, and make yourself be seen. All right? Stay strong, everybody. Okay? We've got to win this fight. We cannot give up while we're ahead. We are ahead. Believe it or not, we are ahead. You might not think we are, but we are. Because, like I said before, they wouldn't keep putting these laws together if we weren't a threat. They consider us a threat to them because there is too many of us, and they know that. And so, till next time, hope well, hopefully it will be. Uh, Got to change up the schedule a little bit. My co-host's work schedule changed, so um, I believe it's going to be Wednesdays and Thursdays that would be on. Um, I have some guests coming up on Thursdays. Um, I'm in the uh, final stages of getting that set up. Um, I've got a couple of guests lined up for February already. Um, I think I'm going to have one or two this month. I have to look. I'm not sure, but I will be posting on Facebook, and I'll also be posting right here on the website. Um, uh, about the upcoming guest. Um, that way you can get a little bit of a feel for who's coming up. And that's about it. So just keep watching out on the LGBTQ Transgender Rainbow podcast on Facebook. Um, you can find me on Instagram. Excuse me. You can find me on Twitter or X if they want to call it. Um, still comes up twitter.com. um, then let's see what else. I may be able to post some stuff here on YouTube. Um, let's see where else. I'll probably post something on TikTok as well. I've got a few places that I can advertise. So that's coming up. So watch out for that. And you can always comment on the show on the replay. So please do. I do see the comments when they come in, um, and I do appreciate them. So y'all have a good night and stay strong. Good night.